Hey Rick, so here's your review on camp again. I think some good improvements and plenty of stuff for you to go away and ingrain on your own now. Just keep us updated on how well that's going. But yeah, to give you a brief sort of summary on what we're going to cover and what we did cover. A lot of it is front end work. In fact, it's pretty much all front end work. You're very smooth and you're very connected, I think, once you're in. But what we want to do is basically just look at being a bit more still with the bodies going in, connecting with less movement, taking more time to let the spoon fill. Because like right now, you're just placing and then going too quickly, and you're placing. You place on the way forward, but there's a gap of air on the spoon, and then you just push on it immediately. And what we see is basically just you're pushing on air a little bit too much. The other thing is just a bit of like body positioning and a bit of a kind of lunge and a kind of upper body movement that isn't necessary. And the result is like just that last little lunge means that you sort of like grab it a bit more at the catch. So those are the kind of two things we worked on, was just placing a bit more and also being more still on that front end of the stroke. The other kind of to a lesser extent was what we worked on was carrying your blade with more space underneath it, more shape, as you heard me talk about all the time with a lot of people actually. Sorry, my eyes are just killing me here. Oh. So that you can then square and then lift a bit more directly. And I think when you had more space with the blade, you were then able to square earlier and lift a bit easier. And you're again just giving yourself too much work to do towards the end of the recovery. So right, here we are. So this was the first bit of footage that we had from you. We discussed basically just practice being a little bit more squared, so you can get that lift right. I think when you were squaring, or when you were doing the square blade rowing, you were giving yourself less work to do at the front, and then you were able to be more still. So even if we just see here, okay, kind of covering some of the problems. Like coming in here, if we look at this body position that you're in, like if we look at this position you're in here, you see this angle, watch how it dips a little bit more there. As you go in there's just a bit too much. You're in this position here, and then you go in and dip a little bit more, and it's subtle, but it's enough to just when you're here and then you get all your weight onto the stern there, you go in and you just lunge a little bit. All your weight is on the stern. Your boat right now is like that, like running like that, I guess, which is unavoidable. But you've already got all your weight here on the stern, and that little lunge really just dips the stern a little bit more. So again, something we want to avoid as we go forward. But I do think one thing that helped was just having the blade squared, so that you're giving yourself less upper body movement right before you put the blades in. But again, this is just the start. We can kind of go through it a bit more here.
Yeah, Rick, I think that's looking more still. As a result, you can just be more still with the body at the front. It definitely looks like there's less going on in the arms.
Yeah, I think more still from what we saw before. Again, it's a shame we don't have the first strokes that you took. But like, look at the body here. Okay, you need to be in the rock over position that you want it to catch. And you're here, and you just sort of gradually dip. It's very, very subtle, but your sculling's at a level where you have to have quite an attention to detail with these things. Next thing I want to cover as well is you're going in and then away too quickly, and I think what we want to work on is just getting a bit more time to let that spoon fill. And we'll probably see it from a different angle here, but you're just grabbing a little bit too much air at the catch.
I think you're skilled enough though, Rick, that you can do that more squared. Like, you don't need the quarter feather. Yeah, I like that more. That blade exit looks cleaner when you do that, and you have more shape. still allowing yourself the kind of luxury of that quarter feather. Yeah, nice.
That was a nice one. So much stiller there when you get it right.
Yeah, nice. That new grip as well, with it more in the palms.
Yeah, here's a good close-up. If we look from here through to there, there's just a bit too much of a subtle. If you just look at the core, look at how your kind of core moves from there to there. You can just see a little bit too much of a lunge.
Looking good, Rick.
So start at like half slide. Sit nice and still. Get the boat still.
So
Get
here
the boat
is
still.
where we
Yeah.
basically just got you doing some work to be more still in the front. So the front end nudges, there's plenty of other words for it. I think the pick drill, I think, is the other one that you can call it. But yeah, basically just being working on being more still in the front. But I talk through this here.
Blade, both
so I'll
blade.
just
Your
play
left
this
blade
all
is kind of
always.
half square. Yeah. So start off just being super still with the body, and keeping just going like this, Rick, as well. Not like this. Like this.
So I'm just
Straight
showing
arm.
like being more
Yeah,
still.
yeah. Think about that body
Not
being
from
still.
there,
Way on
or
the
from the
foot plate
shoulders.
as well.
That's a mistake people make when they do
Try
this
and
drill. They
remove
run from
that
the
body
elbow.
movement. So just try and get a close up of his body.
Right.
Yeah, that's better. That was a good change. There's still, you'll see it on the footage, there's still a slight movement with your body. More still.
So yeah,
more
the trick
still.
is when you do this drill, is what we want
Slight movement
is-
with your body. More still.
what we want is it for think about your arm like the ball and socket joint, okay? And you're just pivoting from there to there. And there's no movement here. You're not bending at the elbows. Like, you're just literally like straight from here, up, down, straight from the socket, nowhere else. Not using the shoulders, not using the elbows. I think, as you can see when you start this, I think there's just you see that upper body movement. So you're doing it with your upper body as well. And this is a really, really tricky drill to do. But you just see body, 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 body. We just want it in the shoulders and no more.
Your body. More still. More still. Just pivoting from that shoulder socket. Yeah, that's better. You're getting better. Getting better. Good, 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 good. Now try it at like more compressed, 3/4 slide or full slide.
Just get a bit more comfortable with it. Okay, we're trying to ingrain this
Yeah, go
movement.
even out further than that. Further, further, further,
You
further.
want to
further,
take
further,
that
further.
movement while the boat's moving. You want to take that movement into race
Good,
pace.
that's good, Rick. Really, really
And you're
still.
doing rate 34. That's a bit better.
Yeah, that's better. I like that. Really, really small movements with the hands. Up and down, weight on the foot plate.
See the
Now,
difference in the body there? That's more still. When you're back here, you can see, yeah, just a bit of movement in the upper body. As you're doing it here, it got better. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's better. I like that. Really, really small movements with the hands. Up and down, weight on the foot plate. Now, try bringing that hand movement in with that first sort of like quarter of the leg drive. Okay? Yeah, good. Pop the blade out. Good. Still. That's good. Really good still. And then just place it and drive. So just kind of like continuous. Yeah. Just place and drive. Yeah, really good. Yeah, that body.
Yeah, you're doing
really
the drill
still.
really well here. Really, really still. Look at that concentration.
Yeah, that's really still, Rick. Yeah, good. Nice and gentle as well. You're not trying to like break the foot plate. It's literally just a slight nudge and a slight squeeze. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, really still in the upper body. That's good, Rick. Yeah, good. Now just bring in full legs and just kind of gradually make your way up. No, yeah, so keep the body forward though. So just doing the legs only. Yeah.
Yeah, really
Don't
good.
worry about connection.
What we want is when you go to drive, when you do full rowing, we want this body angle.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we want this body angle all the way as you drive. And what is happening here is you're holding it. Oh, you're steering there. So maybe drive, legs, 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 legs. And then when you get to the full strokes, it's literally just you open the back and bring in the arms from there.
Yeah, that's good.
Watch what happens when you do the first full stroke.
Yeah, good. And now, what I just want you to try is one stroke legs only, one stroke full, okay? Bringing in, yeah, and then one stroke full. Bring in that same stillness.
As soon as you went full, you opened early. So here again, like, let's look at this angle. Look at that angle with the body on the legs only. Sorry, that was the full one. Let's see the legs only one. Look at this angle. Legs only, you keep your body forward, you keep the shoulders there. When you do the full, it should look the exact same as this, except there you open. What happens when you go to do the full? You're pretty much opening early. From as soon as you get kind of a quarter of your legs down, you're already opening. But yeah, we'll play it because I kind of explained this a bit more. But just see that difference? Legs only, really good. You're doing the drill really well. You just need to bring it into the normal rowing. And then you open up early. See that? See that difference? You want to hold that body forward.
Bring in that same stillness. So see, as soon as you went full, you opened early. Yeah. Yeah, legs only. Yeah, that was better. Yeah, that's more still going in. Just remember that's, okay, I'll stop saying stillness. Still, that's good. Yeah. And try and imagine like the full.
That's a bit better, but I still, a bit better. I'd still say you could get a bit more out of the legs. But that was much better, this one, this full stroke. Like, look at this upper body stillness. The tricky part is doing this when you're racing.
Imagine like the full stroke is like you're doing a legs only stroke, and then the last minute you're like, right, body's in. Yeah, that's good. Go work on that. So what I would say is kind of do like maybe 10, 20 strokes of that alternating, and then do a couple minutes of rowing, and then go back into that alternating 10 legs, 10 full, okay? But that's good. Row through. Keep going. That's stillness on the front. More movement. More rate. Harder to be still.
So here we're just working. We're doing a race piece. Rate capped, no time, so just trying to give you a bit more pressure, but just look at like how when we introduce a bit of work, what happens with the load. And I think because we're introducing some work, you're thinking work harder, so you're opening the back early. So again, pretty tricky to get this right. But I'd say certainly you want to make sure you get that separation. And when you introduce legs only first properly, like you will be working differently and it will feel like you're doing less work, but you need to train and ingrain that connection in the low rate so you can bring it up to the high rate. The other thing, this is quite a good angle to see how you're catching. So you're placing it really well. But what's happening, so just to move on now from keeping the body still, moving on to how you're actually placing. You're placing it right, you're placing it still, but as soon as you are feeling water here, you're going. And what you want to do is place, but then keep this lift straight up so that the blade keeps going straight down. But what it'll look like, because the water is going to be moving in against the blade, it'll look like more backsplash. And what's happening here, you're feeling the bottom of the blade go in, and you're thinking, right, drive back, and you're missing some connection here, and you're just grabbing some air, and you can see you're just moving back already. And that spoon's moving. You've not actually got any hook here. You've not placed the blade straight up. But yeah, we can go into that a bit more, and as a result, yeah, you're getting a bit more air. You can see that air pocket there. It's just a sign you're not quite locked and connected in the boat.
More rate, harder to be still.
But yeah, the other thing we were working on was just the shape, which you're getting here, which I like. And then the squaring early, I think, was a little bit better, but still could have been. You're getting some strokes.
Harder to be still. Think about that legs only. Think about that placing. Do that at this higher rate. Yeah, I think maybe I just lost a bit of the stillness, maybe. Obviously, when you're fatigued, it's going to be hard to be more still with your body. Yeah, that one looked better.
You see that when you place, you still got that air pocket. You can see all that air behind the blade. If you look right behind it, that little suction air pocket right by that green bit of the blade, that's just a sign you've not had the patience to let this spoon get fully buried before you're going. And it's subtle. It's very, very subtle, but it's your sculling's really good, and it's what it's going to take to take it to the next level. We're doing some square on the right only here, obviously.
And just still with that pickup as well, like, oh, oh shit, yeah. Just when you bring on that load, like, there shouldn't be any extra movement. You shouldn't feel it in your shoulders. Like, try and feel that engagement in the lats and in your glutes. You push it away. You hang through the bones of your skeleton. You're not using your traps or your biceps. That one's a bit better. Cheers. Thanks. That was nice. Yeah, like, see, as soon as you change it as well, like, immediately, like, the catch gets better.
Yeah, because it's a drop.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say is that I think, like...
So this is just talking about squaring and prep going into the catch. Yeah, I think here we're just going to do a little drill, walking through how to place the blade.
You could do with more, like, fill with the spoon. You get what I mean? So, like... so the crosswind's just going to push us over a little bit. If you can just avoid me, because it's harder to move this thing. But... basically, I think you could spend more. I think you've got the catch really nicely and really loose and really well timed. But I think, you know, have you heard, like, the concept of, like, when you put the blade in, letting that gap of air fill up with water before you push? Have we talked about that before? Yeah. So, just when you place the blade, you get that gap. So, you know, you place and you get that gap of air on the front of the spoon. And you don't want to push until that gap is filled with water. And then you push. Because when you push on air, you kick the stern in the other direction. Right. So what it basically just feels like is once you feel the kind of blades go in, you need to keep moving with the boat. And, like, let that spoon fill up before you push. Right. Does that make sense?
But then you gotta push with the legs without moving.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I do think your, like, body... angle's looking better, but I just think one thing you could do better. We're getting really close to your blade there and just looking at it, and it's nice, but it's just you're in and away too quick.
Right.
And I think and it looks like there's a bit of air, like there's an air pocket behind your blade. Right. I think that's just because you're pushing on air. So when you place, I want you to just keep placing, like keep pushing the blade in as you move. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, spend more time pushing the blade in. More there, even more. Push.
Yeah, still need to take more time to press the blade in, I think. You need to be okay. I'd say you can probably start lifting earlier as well. Like, you're fully extended, then you're trying to press it in, and then you're going. I think you just need to start the lifting process
More
earlier
there,
as well.
even more. Push it in more and keep lifting as you're sliding forward. I would spend even more time, like, back it in more. Lift earlier and push it in more. I think you can still do more, Rick. Yeah, that was a bit better, I think. And just do it, like, feathered. Don't do the squaring, I think.
That was a bit better on the right.
I just want to see you exaggerate that push in and that splash in. I still think
That's
you
looking
could be
a bit
doing more.
better.
That was a bit better on the right. That was better on the right. Nope, lost it on the right. Nope. So you're just squaring your right blade a bit earlier than your left. Just do it evenly. Yeah.
That's looking better.
And square fully as well. Don't do the half square. Yeah, and then push it in more. So really pushing the limits of skill here, Rick. Let's challenge ourselves to do something different. More press in. Push the blade in more. Easy there. Just stop there, Rick.
Easy there, Rick. Yeah, stop. Does that feel any different? No.
I feel like I need to ease up at the catch to do what you're saying.
Ease up with what?
Well, don't push right away.
Yeah, with the legs. Yeah, take a bit more time to delay the push. See, when you first find grip with the spoon, you've got a bit of grip there, but it still takes time to go from 1/8 in to all the way in. But when you're doing this process of lifting, the boat's still going that way. So you need to be lifting and still sliding forward until the spoons fill. Then you can push. But don't even think about pushing. Like, once you've got the grip, the boat will push for you almost. Like, you'll have to go because you're locked. So what I would say, just sitting here, play around with it and watch your blade, look at your blade on the right, and just backsplash, like really push the blade in like you're trying to do a shitload of splash. Just sitting here, try it. The way to practice backsplashing the blade in is in the kind of point when you're super stable and there's nothing else going on and you can really focus on what you're doing. And that's very simply just when you're turning the boat. So turn the blade squared like this, and when you're spinning around, you can just play around with how you're placing. And most people, they go like this up to the catch, and then they row it in, and they pull the blade in, and they're missing a bit of water when they push the blade in. So very simply what you can do, just sort of play around with it as you're spinning. Kind of play around almost with that stabbing sort of movement. Now you don't want it to be a stab. You don't want it to be aggressive where you're really pushing the blade in. But in this case, like exaggerating and sort of playing around with it can be the first step to getting that backsplash. So really just sort of play around with it and play around with that push in and then pull. And then as you get better, you can just sort of play around with the timing, do it a bit more loose, a little bit quicker and more precise. Yeah, every time you spin the boat, it's basically a really good chance to practice. Don't punch it in, and don't take a stroke, just punch it in and stop. More, way more, way more, way more. And like...
Yeah, so what we want when you're sitting still like this is actually quite a good chance, anytime you're spinning the boat, to really play around and experiment with that backsplash. Here, Rick, you could have just pressed it in, punched it in more like you're trying to splash the person behind you. It's one of these cases when you can look for the out. Doing this right, the outcome is backsplash. It's one of those cases where you can actually force the outcome and you'll get the right process.
More, way more, way more, way more. And like, see Rick, see your eagerness, you're placing and going. Place, pause,
I don't think we
go.
were really
Try
getting
that.
it here,
just
to be
while
honest.
we're doing this stuff here. No, just with the arm, one arm only, one arm only, one arm.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a bit better. Yeah.
Part of the problem with that is that I'm going like this, take it quick.
Yeah.
The problem is what you're identifying is that I'm actually pushing the boat before it's ready.
Yeah, yeah. One last thing to try. Let's try a pause when you place. So like place, pause, then go. Okay? I still think you can get more. That's a bit better. Pause at the front. Pause at the front when you put the blade in. Yeah, that's better. Pause more though.
Still too eager to push, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if we're getting it yet. That was a bit better. Right, I'm gonna go for it.
That was a good one on the right. You see, you're here, you're lifting, and you're not moving just yet. Like you're hanging around as you lift here. This is your best one I've seen so far. Not much movement. Okay, still a bit upper body movement. You're still going up with the body. But you're there, you're still there, and then you go. So the other checkpoint while we're working on the catch is people think, right, okay, how am I placing? Often you forget about how you actually get to the placement. So again, that's shape, carrying your blade higher, and squaring earlier.
You're skilled enough. Fully square, fully square, fully square. Yeah, good. Yeah, good, Rick. Good with the squaring, really good. So kind of keep changing what we're working on, to be honest, so apologies, but I still think you can press more in, like push it in more. Keep that really square. Push the blade in more. More lift, more lift, more lift. Take your time, remember, keep moving. Very good work, Rick. Nice, Rick. Shape and square. Good. Yeah, nice, Rick. That's good. Yeah, good with the squaring, Rick. Let's just take a bit of time now to let the spoon fill. Take time on that press, even when you're at a high, moving faster. Still take the time to let the blade fill. Good.
That was a better one, I think. Staying still in the front as you place. Not moving, not moving, not moving, not moving. Okay, now you're driving.
Faster. Still take the time to let the blade fill. Good. That looks a bit nice. That was smoother. Let it fill. Nice.
Still need more shape, still need to square earlier. When you're racing, this is the really tricky part. Good shape. Good. Good squaring. Still need to work on being patient placing that blade. You're still too eager to get away. Still grabbing air. That was a good one there on the right. Still too quick to get away. Still too jerky. I think this is when you're getting your catches the best, was in this headwind. See, pausing a bit too much at the catch here, just keep this flowing. I know we weren't doing much work on the finish, but for me, this is when it looked like you had the pausing at the catch, or not the pausing at the catch, but the fill at the catch the best. This is the best catches I saw from you all weekend, and it was in some of the hardest conditions. But yeah, you get a bit of a heavier load. It makes it a bit easier to take time on the front.
Really nice, right?
Yeah, that was the nicest catch I've seen from you so far.
Really nice, right?
Just you've got so much more patience there at the front. You're not trying to get away as soon as you're there. You're like, here, place. Okay, you're just being nice and chilled and patient. Okay, I'm locked. Right, now let's drive. Still opening the back too early. We're trying to bring in two things, which is quite tricky, is how you place and keeping your body forward. But yeah, I can work on one thing, work on the other thing, work on one thing, and just slowly you'll gradually start to nudge each of them on. But I think for me, this clip here, this last little few hundred, was the best I've seen your catches all weekend, all training camp. Yeah, so Rick, the big things are, first off, making sure you get the prep going right into the catch. So having the shape, squaring early so that you can place with less movement. When you're leaving it late, you're coming to the catch, you're going squaring in. It's just creating a bit more upper body movement. What I want you to work on is just that placement. And anytime you're spinning the boat or tapping it around, you should be thinking about, how am I placing the blade? How am I, get that feeling for that backsplash, pause. Even when you're just doing the arms only, like backsplash, pause, pull. Play around with that feeling, and then try and also get that feeling on the front where you place and you keep moving forward, and you're not in any rush to place and go. It's just like place, and when you feel that grip, you'll have to move because you'll be locked. The other main thing I want you to work on is that stillness. So doing those front end nudges really helped. But just do that. Make sure that you bring it into the normal rowing. That's also something you can really work on the erg. So I'd like to see some erg footage from you as well. But yeah, plenty to work on, Rick. And yeah, really productive weekend. I think you got plenty of homework to go away and try. So yeah, cheers.